All right. So then we talked about the what? We talked about the external sources of finance. There we go. This is the external. We have long-term external sources of finance. We have short-term and we have medium-term. In the long term, we have preference shares, we have right issues, we have debentures, we have too many things, right? And then the short term, we have what? The overdraft that we talked about and so on. Like, sources of finance. We talked about, no, we didn't talk about debt factoring. Now let's assume that Ahmed Tariq has a car showroom, عنده معرض عربيات. تمام? This guy needs to have cash all the time. لازم يبقى في عنده cash في المعرض علشان يشتري عربيات ويبيع، صح؟ Ahmed, please do not change the background and lower the camera. طيب. Now, if Ahmed is going to use this method of debt factoring, معنى الكلام ده ايه? What do we mean by debt factoring? Go ahead, ya Ahmed, read before I explain the concept of debt factoring. Go ahead. Ahmed, can you hear me? I would like to hear your voice. Azzuddin, I would like to hear your voice. Go ahead.
The business claims on debtors are sold to debt factoring companies at a discount, and the business receives cash. The business receives less than the full debt.
What does this mean?
The full value of the debt.
What does this mean? Let's assume that Omar went to Ahmed Tariq. He bought a car for 200,000 Egyptian pounds. Like Omar, he didn't pay the 200,000 Egyptian pounds. He paid, let's say, 50 or 60,000 Egyptian pounds. Ahmed, how much money is left for you? You still need 140,000 Egyptian pounds from Omar, right? So what Ahmed is going to do in order to have the cash much faster, instead of waiting for Omar to pay the whole amount of money, he's going to sell this contract to a debt factoring institution. هيبقى في عندي companies متخصصة في إنها تشتري القروض من الشركات وتدي لهم cash right away. دي اسمها إيه؟ Debt factoring institutions. طيب هيستفيدوا من بإيه الdebt factoring associations؟ هيستفيدوا discount. هيقول لك ماشي, you're going to sell me the contract of the 140,000 Egyptian pounds as a loan, right? But I'm going to give you only 120,000. القرض 140,000 بس أنا هدي لك 120,000 بس. الباقي, this is going to be my profit. This is going to be the discount, right? 50% understood or less than 50%? Okay, now let's imagine this. Let's assume that we have a person, a customer, who went to a car showroom to buy a car for 6,000 Bahraini dinar. This person paid only 15% of the total price of the car. So the car showroom still didn't receive 85% of the total price of the car, right? Am I right? So in this case, the car showroom, in order to get cash much faster, is going to sell the contract of the loan to a debt factoring company. So it goes like this. Number one, the seller, اللي هو الcar showroom, is going to sell the car to the customer. Ahmed is going to sell the car to عمر رضا. طيب, what's next? The seller عايز الكاش much faster. So the seller is going to sell the billing invoice. هيبيع الفاتورة أو هيبيع الcontract to an institution which is called the factor institution. It's like a bank. تمام؟ بس الفactor is not going to give 100% of the value of the contract. هيدي مثلا 90% أو هيدي 85% والباقي هيبقى الprofit for the factor company, as you're not allowed to eat during the session. You need to comply to the standards of the online sessions. Yeah, I know that you're real gentlemen, so please follow the instructions. Thank you. One of the instructions is that you have to be in school uniform. Am I understood? This is not only for Izzuddin. This is for everybody. Right. The seller is going to receive the discount.
The school uniform doesn't have something بنصكم في البيت.
تمام. So
tell the school to make for us sweatshirts or jackets.
This is again for everybody. This is going to be the last reminder before taking an action. Before I take an action, I'm just going to give the last reminder. Okay? Right. So the debt factor is going to give 85% to عمر. هيديله 85% من ال 140,000 اللي هم القرض على رضا. ال 15%, this is going to be the profit or the benefit for the factoring company. طيب, عمر is going to pay the rest amount of money to whom? خلاص أحمد خد فلوسه من ال debt factoring company. So Omar, who bought the car, is going to buy or to pay the money to the factor company. تمام? Is it like 60 or 70% understood? I know that this is a little bit complicated. Now let's assume this. This shows the method of how it goes, of how the debt factoring goes. Number one, the company sells the goods to the customer, as I said. Number two, where's number two? Let's have a look at number two. Okay, the factor company. This is like the bank. The factor company is going to, or the company itself will sell the debt to the factor. هروح أنا كصاحب معرض عربيات to the factoring company. I'm going to sell the contract to it. Right. Where's number three? Number three ahead. Number three says that the factoring company is going to pay only 80% and the rest will be the discount. Right. After this long story, is this method a good way to finance your car dealing business, ya Omar or ya Ahmed? Ahmed, I would like to hear your voice. Can you talk? يعني الطريقة دي, is this good? Why would it be good? Why would it be a good method to finance your daily operations? انت عايز كاش على طول.
مستر حضرتك سامعني؟
Yes, go ahead.
It's gonna be good because اللي هو يعني مثلا زي اللي بيحصل عامة اللي هو مثلا بيبقى فيه حد بيدي نص الفلوس والنص التاني ما بيديهوش فهيبقى كويس علشان اللي هو بدي اللي هو أكني I'm giving what I have now and later I'm gonna give you what you need بعد كده.
Exactly. Instead of receiving the whole amount of money after, let's say, 5 years or 6 years, you're going to receive your money now. You can just go to the company, sell them the contract. They will give you 80% of the value of the contract. But on the other hand, what would be the cost or the negative side of this way of financing? Let's think about it for a minute. هو إيه الcost? What will be the cost for the car dealing company, the seller of the car? What would be the cost? Let's examine this picture. ايه التكلفة بتاعت الطريقة دي بتاعت الفاينانسنج؟ لازم في تكلفة. It's an external source of finance. We have to pay the cost. Ziad, any thoughts? Omar Rida, any thoughts?
Sir, I can't understand the question.
طيب تاني، احنا اتفقنا انه في لاي نوع من الاكسترنال سورسز اوف فاينانس لازم ليها تكلفه لازم ندفعها. علشان نستخدم الطريقه دي لازم في تكلفه هندفعها. ايه تكلفه debt factoring as a source of finance? So if you use this method of financing, ايه التكلفه اللي انت مضطر انك تدفعها؟ Look at this. You're going to receive only 80% of the 140,000. يبقى ال 20% اللي هي الديسكاونت هي دي الكوست بالنسبة لك. انت مش هتسترد ال 140,000 كلهم، لا هتسترد بس 80% من ال 140,000. يبقى ال 20% هي دي التكلفة بتاعت الدبت فاكتورينج. Understood؟ عمر، عز, Ahmed, Ziad, the rest of the students. Any questions before I move on? Omar, Ahmed. All right. طيب, let's move on. As we said, one of the easiest ways to finance short-term business needs or short-term spending is the bank overdraft. This is the most flexible. You can just get an overdraft very easily from the bank. Also, the bank overdraft is another external source of finance because you're not using your own money. You're using the money of the bank. So this is why it's called external. So what do we mean by bank overdraft? It means that the bank allows the companies to withdraw, يعني هتسحب, withdraw an amount of money which is greater than the available balance. يعني عندك في الحساب مثلا 10,000 جنيه, the bank will give you an ability to withdraw 15,000. يبقى ال 5,000 difference هو ده اللي هيبقى ايه؟ الويز. This is going to be the law. طيب, let's move on. Now we're moving on to another type of external sources of finance, which is medium term. Medium term معناه انه we need to pay this amount of money in less than 7 years. يبقى الميديوم تيرم بانك لون، لو خدنا لون من البنك مضطرين ان احنا ندفعه خلال 7 سنين. والهاير بيرتشيس برضه، الهاير بيرتشيس it means that we are paying the price of the car on equal monthly payments. أقساط الهاير purchase. طيب, let's see together. Let's have a look at the picture of the car here. This will make it easier for you to understand the concept of the hire purchase. Let's have a look at the picture for 1 minute. هو ايه معنى الصورة دي? And how is it related to the concept of the of the higher.
حضرتك يا مستر.
اهلا يا حبيبي.
pay part of the money and then I لو the rest of the balance يعني I pay them over.
Very good. طيب you're going to pay deposit. هتدفع مقدم. المقدم of the car will be like 40%.
بيبقى المقدم علشان هو يعني عشان يبقى هو الراجل معاه فلوس. The dealer has money.
Yes.
And
has,
at the same time it's like I'm booking it for me. كأني محجزها.
طيب if you have an ice cream company, you're producing ice cream and you want trucks, you want to buy cars علشان تقدر تعمل transportation وتوزع الايس كريم على المحلات. طيب instead of paying 100% of the price of the trucks, you're going to use the higher purchase. Instead of paying the price of the full amount of the price of the car now and today, you're just going to pay 40%. يبقى هيبقى معاك كاش أكتر، صح ولا لا؟ So instead of buying the car cash, you would use higher purchase. But why did we consider that higher purchase is an external source of finance? Because we are using the money of other people. Right. So companies use this method to buy goods with medium lifespans, which last for 1 to 5 years. Right. Companies pay the full price of the good purchased based on what? Monthly equal payments. إيه موضوع monthly equal payments? Can anybody guess the meaning of monthly equal payments in Arabic? Monthly equal payments. ايه؟ أقساط. ما هو القسط
installments.
It's monthly بندفعه كل شهر. Equal بيقول لك والله هتدفع مثلا 4000 5000 جنيه كل شهر. So this is going to be monthly installment, monthly and equal payment. Right? Ahmed, Mu'taz, you're late. Send me an excuse or send me the reason why are you late to the
مستر هو بس طلع ودخل عشان الواي فاي عنده فصل.
معتز كان موجود من الأول حتى he told you if he can finish
Okay.
eating and then
Yes. Okay. My mistake. طيب. I apologize, Ahmed. طيب, let's move on. Now the long term. We talked about the short term, medium term, and now the long term. طيب. احنا اتكلمنا امبارح على الكابيتال spending، صح؟ Just give me a second. I'll be back in a few seconds. طيب. Let's see this together.
مستر حضرتك بتقول ان انا ليه؟
Yeah, I thought that you're late, but yes, I just remember that you are on time. You came first. طيب.
Okay.
احنا اتفقنا انه all the companies spend money, right? But this amount of spending that any company, whether it's small company or big company, they are spending every day, right? طيب, what type of spending do we have for any company? Number one, we have capital spending. And number two, which is like the recurrent spending. اتفقنا انه ال capital spending happens once in a while. So you're not spending this amount of money every day, right? But you're going to spend it probably every 10 years, every 15 years to buy a new machine or to buy a new car or to build a factory or to build this or that. Excuse me, sir, I do not want to see this mobile phone in my sight.
كنت ساند عليه.
يبقى في
تمام.
capital spending وفي عندي الريكرنت اللي هو المونثلي spending. المشكلة بتاعتي انه الكابيتال spending is more likely to be big amount. We need big amount of money. So in order to buy or to build a factory, we want millions of dollars, right? We want a big amount of money. In order to buy an airplane, this is very costly. It costs millions of dollars. But how can we finance, how can we get the money needed to pay for capital spending? هو ده. How can we get $5 million? How can we get $20 million? How can we get $1 billion for a company like General Motors or Mercedes or one of these multinational companies? We want millions and billions of dollars sometimes. In this case, we have to look for this long-term financing. Number one, debentures. Number two, long-term bank loans. Number three, shares. So how many long-term sources of finance do we have? I want to hear your voices. How? Three, debentures, long
ماشي.
bank loans, طيب, and three, which is the shares. طيب. Go ahead, يا عمر رضا. I would like to hear your voice. You're muted, so you can unmute and start reading. Okay. Ziad, I would like to hear your voice. So unmute and then you can read the text in this slide.
ده عمر رضا مستر عمر رضا بيقول لحضرتك المايك عنده معلق فهيخرج ويدخل تاني. بس هو
All right. That's fine. But go ahead, يا زياد.
Yes, sir. There is no PowerPoint. ظهر لي.
Oh, okay. Okay. Sorry. So did we see this? Did you see this, guys? The long-term sources of finance, debentures, long-term, and shares, right? Right. Let's move on. Go ahead, Yazid.
To raise capital, some companies sell the debentures to investors. The total value of the debentures sold by a company must be
repaid
with fixed interest to the investors after 25 years. The debenture holders can resell their debentures.
Okay, can we just stop at this point? Like,
okay.
So a debenture, it's a piece of paper, it's a legal document, which proves that, okay, Ziad or Izzuddin or Ahmed Tariq gave money to a company like, let's say, Walt Disney. Tamam? Gave the company, Walt Disney, let's say $50,000. Now the Now the $50,000 proves that Ziad or Izzuddin or Ahmed Tariq is a person who gave me money, and then the company Walt Disney must repay the money after 25 years. After how many years? After
25 years.
Okay. So the company is going to pay you the capital that you invested plus interest. يعني هيدفعوا فايدة مثلا 5% كل سنة أو 10% كل سنة أو 6% كل سنة. So the interest here will be cost for the company, right? So the company here has to pay the interest, and therefore the cost of this source of finance is the interest. Right. let's assume that Ziad or Ez or Ahmed or anybody who invested his money in the debentures, let's say that he wants his money back before the 25 years. Let's say after 5 years from the investment. What are you going to do? What would be the possible things that you would do? ما فيش عندي دلوقتي any wrong answers. انت دلوقتي عايز فلوسك؟
مستر هو حضرتك اللي بتعلق ولا ده انا؟
Yeah?
مستر
بجد؟ يعني مش انا، مش احنا.
انا افتكرت ان انا اللي عندي اللاج.
وانا
ايوه
برضه.
يا ابني ده طلع
يا
المستر.
ابني ده البنج عنده عالي
أنا
فشخ.
يا لا ماشي.
Okay, I do understand. خلاص. Okay. Okay, buddy, you're so funny. Wow.
مستر ماشي.
رقم بيقطع.
All right, guys. طيب. So we're going to finish in.
يا مستر
Yes.
يا مستر احنا ما سمعناش اي حاجه حضرتك قلتها،
يا
النت
مستر.
قطع وعند حضرتك وما سمعناش اي حاجه.
Okay.
احنا ما
I'll just
سمعناش اي حاجه من الدقيقتين ثلاثه اللي فاتوا دول.
All right. I'll just repeat that again. No problem. Okay, give me 1 second. I'll be back. Ez, no eating for now. The session is not over yet. Just the last reminder, again, for the students who are missing assignments or any coursework from trimester number 1, you need to complete it. You need to turn it in before the 17th of January. 17th of January will be the last chance to turn in your missing assignments. There would be no more chances after this point.
بس والبروجكت.
All right. Okay, guys. So this is going to be the last reminder. We're going to continue with the sources of finance tomorrow, but with a case study. So tomorrow, we're going to work on a case study. We're going to meet on 11:45. Okay. Any questions for now? All right. All right, guys. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day ahead. Bye-bye. Take care.